Combat is not merely the clash of fists or the meeting of blades. It is the manifestation of will, the purest expression of dominance. To master the art of combat is to master the art of control over yourself, over your opponent, over the very rhythm of battle itself. Weak men believe that combat is about technique, about form, about strategy alone. They study movements, memorize patterns, believe that knowledge alone will grant them victory. But they fail to understand the essence of true combat. It is not technique that wins battles. It is the will to break another man, the absolute certainty that you will stand and he will fall. No amount of training, no amount of preparation can replace this truth. A fighter who enters battle with doubt has already lost. The first strike was not thrown with the fist. It was thrown in the mind, long before the battle began. Strength is not just in the body. It is in the mind, in the refusal to yield, in the understanding that pain, fear, hesitation, these are all weapons your enemy will use against you if you allow them. You must not allow them. To engage in combat is to dance with chaos, to move within the storm without fear. Those who hesitate, who overthink, who rely solely on rehearsed tactics, will crumble when the fight takes an unexpected turn. Battle is never predictable. It is fluid, shifting, an organism of destruction that devours those who are unprepared. Mastering combat is not about memorization. It is about adaptation, about becoming a force so resolute that no shift in circumstance can shake you. This is where men fail. They believe that their plans, their strategies, will unfold exactly as imagined. But no enemy follows the script. No battle moves in straight lines. It is not enough to prepare for the fight. You must prepare for everything that can go wrong within it. The moment a man experiences something unexpected and falters, he is already dead. His opponent will see it, will feel the weakness emanating from him, will know that doubt has entered his bones, and that will be the end. The true master of combat does not hesitate, does not panic, does not second guess. He moves like a predator, always forward, always with purpose, always in control. Fear is the greatest adversary, more dangerous than any opponent you will ever face. It creeps into the mind, paralyzes the limbs, turns the strongest of men into feeble shadows of themselves. But fear is not to be avoided, it is to be confronted, to be understood, to be mastered. Those who claim to be fearless are liars or fools. Fear is a natural response, a primal instinct. But the difference between the weak and the strong is how they use it. A true warrior does not deny fear. He harnesses it. He channels it into focus, into precision, into relentless aggression. Fear sharpens the senses, quickens the reflexes, heightens awareness, but only if it is controlled. If left unchecked, it festers, it grows, it consumes. Those who let fear control them will never master combat, for they will always be reacting instead of acting, always surviving instead of dominating. A man who allows fear to dictate his actions has already surrendered, even if he still stands. Master combat, and you master fear itself. Strength alone does not make a warrior, but without strength no warrior exists. In combat, weakness is not just a flaw, it is a death sentence. A frail body, an unconditioned will, a mind that cowers in the face of adversity. These are the attributes of the fallen. A man who enters battle without strength is a man who has already accepted defeat. Strength is not simply about muscle, nor is it merely about endurance. It is the absolute refusal to yield. It is the ability to stand when others crumble, to push forward when others retreat. True strength is tested not in comfort but in pain. A warrior does not train for ease, he trains for war. His body is a weapon forged in struggle, hardened by adversity. Every injury, every hardship, every grueling hour spent in preparation is another layer of armor, another reason he will not fall when the moment comes. The weak complain of pain, of exhaustion, of discomfort. The strong embrace these things, knowing they are the price of power. The mind is the most dangerous weapon in combat. A fool with a sword is still a fool. A weak-willed man, no matter how strong, will break when pressed. True mastery of combat begins in the mind, in the understanding that battle is not won through brute force alone, but through absolute psychological dominance. The greatest warriors do not simply overpower their enemies, they dismantle them before the first strike is thrown. They instill doubt, erode confidence, create an aura of inevitability. The best fights are won before they even begin. Your opponent must feel your strength, your certainty, your unshakable will. They must know deep within their bones that they stand before something greater, something relentless, something that cannot be moved. This is why warriors of legend are feared, why their names alone strike terror into the hearts of men. They are more than fighters, they are forces of nature. They do not enter battle hoping to win. They enter knowing they will. That is the difference between a man and a warrior. Mastering combat means understanding pain, not avoiding it, not fearing it, but using it. The body will be broken, the flesh will be torn, the bones will ache. This is inevitable. The question is whether you will let pain stop you. Weak men retreat from pain. Strong men endure it. The strongest men grow from it. Every strike taken, every wound endured is a lesson, a mark of resilience, a testament to the fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. Pain is not the enemy. It is the teacher, the forge, the crucible through which warriors are made. Those who fear pain, who shy away from it, who flinch at the first sign of hardship, will never master combat. They will remain in the ranks of the ordinary, forever looking up at those who have embraced what they feared. A warrior does not fear pain. He welcomes it. Patience in combat is a weapon of its own. The reckless fall first, lunging forward in blind aggression, seeking victory before it is earned. They mistake motion for progress, mistake speed for control. But combat is not about who strikes first. It is about who strikes with finality. A true warrior waits, watches, learns. He sees the weaknesses in his opponent, the patterns in their movements, the hesitations in their steps. He does not rush. He does not waste energy on meaningless strikes. He moves with precision, with calculation, each motion serving a purpose. The fool exhausts himself in the first moments of battle. The master ends it with a single, decisive blow. Those who lack patience will never understand this. They fight with emotion, with desperation, with the undisciplined fury of men who fear defeat. But patience is a sign of confidence, of mastery, of one who knows that victory is inevitable, so long as he remains in control. To master combat is to master life itself. For every struggle, every conflict, every moment of adversity follows the same principles. Strength, resilience, patience, fear, control. These are the elements of battle, and they are the elements of existence. A man who understands combat understands the world. He sees beyond the surface, beyond the distractions, beyond the illusions of security and peace. He knows that struggle is eternal, that conflict is woven into the fabric of reality, that to be unprepared is to be vulnerable. The weak live in fear of battle, in fear of pain, in fear of loss. The strong live in acceptance of these things, prepared to face them without hesitation. The greatest warriors do not seek conflict, but neither do they shy away from it. They stand ready, always, knowing that when the moment comes, they will be the ones who remain standing. Master the art of combat, and you master yourself. Master yourself, and you master everything. A man who has lost hope is already defeated, for hope is the final barrier between survival and surrender. In combat, strength can be tested, endurance can be pushed to its limits. But when hope is lost, the fight is over before the final blow lands. This is the unspoken truth of battle. Defeat does not begin when a man falls, nor when his body weakens. It begins when his mind accepts the possibility of failure, when the fire in his soul dims, when he allows the shadow of doubt to creep into his heart. A warrior may suffer wounds, may bleed, may stumble, but if he still holds on to the belief that victory is possible, he remains dangerous. A man who clings to hope, even in the face of overwhelming odds, is a man who can still rise, who can still strike, who can still turn the tide of battle. But the moment he allows despair to settle within him, his body follows. His arms grow heavy, his strikes lack force, his defenses crumble. He becomes a hollow shell, waiting to be broken. True combat is not won with weapons alone. It is won in the mind, where hope and despair battle long before fists are thrown or swords are drawn. A warrior who has mastered the art of combat understands that hope is not given. It is created. Weak men look for reasons to hope, waiting for signs, for reassurance, for the circumstances to shift in their favor. But warriors do not wait for hope. They forge it themselves. They find it not in the external, not in the environment, not in the approval of others, but in the unwavering certainty of their own will. A man who has mastered combat does not rely on luck, on fate, on mercy. He relies only on himself, on his ability to endure, to overcome, to impose his will upon the battlefield. The weak seek permission to believe in victory. The strong claim victory through sheer determination. Even when surrounded, even when wounded, even when every rational thought suggests surrender, a true warrior refuses to let go of the belief that he can still stand, still fight, still win. Hope is not a passive thing. It is not an emotion that appears when convenient. It is a weapon, one as sharp and deadly as any blade. And those who wield it, even in the darkest of moments, are the ones who truly understand combat. Hope, however, must not be confused with illusion. There are men who do not lose hope, but their hope is misplaced. They mistake wishful thinking for strength, believing that survival is assured simply because they want it badly enough. This is another path to destruction. A man who relies on false hope, on empty beliefs, on delusions of easy victory, will meet the same end as the man who surrenders to despair. Mastering combat means mastering reality, seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. It means knowing the difference between genuine resilience and foolish stubbornness. The warrior who truly understands hope knows that it is not a guarantee. It is a challenge, a call to action, a demand for relentless effort. He does not wait for fate to favor him. He forces fate into submission. Hope without action is weakness. Hope backed by will, by strategy, by unbreakable resolve, that is power. That is the mindset of a true fighter. The moment a man loses hope, his body follows. His stance weakens, his attacks lack force, his defenses falter. This is why psychological warfare is just as important as physical combat. A true master of battle does not need to strike 1,000 times to defeat his opponent. He only needs to break his mind. He plants the seed of doubt, erodes his enemy's confidence, forces him to question whether he can win. The moment hesitation enters the mind of an opponent, the battle is half won. Fear is the precursor to hopelessness, and once a man is afraid, once he begins to see himself as the losing side, he will fight accordingly. The greatest warriors do not just fight with their fists. They fight with their presence, with their aura, with the sheer force of their belief in their own dominance. They make their enemies feel small, make them doubt, make them hesitate. And when the enemy hesitates, when his grip loosens, when his breath shortens, when his heart beats faster in fear, that is when the killing blow is delivered. This is the art of combat, the art of breaking a man before his body even falls. A warrior who has mastered combat does not just fight battles, he dictates their outcome before they even begin. This is why confidence, true and earned confidence, is essential. Hope and confidence are intertwined. A man who doubts himself has already placed his foot in the grave. For doubt leads to hesitation. Hesitation leads to mistakes, and mistakes lead to death. A fighter must believe in himself absolutely, not because of arrogance, but because belief fuels action. The body follows the mind. A man who steps into combat uncertain of his own ability to win will move like a man who is already half defeated. He will question his own strikes, second-guess his movements, react rather than dictate. But a man who truly believes in his own ability to overcome anything thrown at him will move with the grace of inevitability. His strikes will be sure, his defenses unshakable, his mind untouchable. He does not wonder if he will win. He knows it, and that knowledge seeps into every movement, every decision, every moment of combat. Even in the most hopeless situations, the true warrior never allows himself to succumb to despair. This is why warriors of legend are feared, why their names alone strike terror into the hearts of men. They are the ones who do not break, who do not shatter, who do not falter even when surrounded, even when outmatched, even when all logic suggests that they should surrender. These are the warriors who, against all odds, continue to fight. And often these are the warriors who survive, who turn the tide, who prove that strength is not always measured in numbers or weapons, but in the ability to stand unshaken in the face of annihilation. This is the ultimate mastery of combat, to fight not only when victory is assured, but to fight even when all seems lost, to push forward when others would collapse, to remain standing when all others have fallen. To lose hope is to accept defeat before it has arrived. To accept defeat is to ensure it. A warrior must never surrender to such weakness. He must cultivate within himself an unshakable core, a fortress of will that no force can penetrate. It is not about winning every battle with ease. It is about never allowing himself to be broken. The greatest victories are often forged in moments where hope should have died. Those who master combat understand this. They do not rely on chance, on external factors, on the mercy of their opponents. They create their own hope, and through it, they carve their path to victory. A man who has mastered the art of combat does not need reassurance, does not need comfort. does not need permission to believe in himself. He stands alone, unyielding, undefeated in spirit, even in the most desperate of circumstances. And that is why he triumphs.